Ever made your own maple syrup before? If not, you're missing out. It's super easy. The other day I went to my buddy Steve's house and he showed me the ropes. Here's how we did it.
So ideally this should look pretty clear, although it does tend to have a little bit of a blue or greenish tint to it, but for the most part it's pretty clear.
And this is like a week's worth? Or a little over a week's
This actually is a week's worth. Normally, if it's a good flowing week, this will get filled up in 3 to 4 days. This is 5 gallons.
And what helps that is the temperatures dropping below freezing during the night and above freezing during the day.
Yeah. Ideally, like mid-20s is good overnight. And then if you have a somewhat mild day, 40, 45, up to 50 is good. But, you don't want it to be at freezing or above overnight. That's not cold enough. And then if it's like this is really nice, but if it's like this in the 50s for day after day after day, that's a day or two is okay, but continually, then
Too warm.
It's not. Yeah, it's too warm. And because it's
Okay, time out right here. I cut Steve off in the video, and later on he kind of explained what he was going to explain when I cut him off. During the winter time, typically in New England we have lots of snow and stuff like that, and you can just kind of put the buckets and store them off in the snow, and it kind of preserves them almost like a refrigerator. Actually, with sap, it can spoil if it goes up around over 50 degrees for an extended period of time. So that's what he was about to say. It's not ideal, and this time of year, in the end of March, it's pretty much when the season comes to an end because you get temperatures routinely over 50 degrees. Back to the video. It's way more liquidy than I thought it was going to be. I think of like tree sap like pine sap.
oh, it's like water basically. It's probably not gonna taste like
It tastes like
water.
pretty much like water.
Yeah, I basically just
kind of top them all off.
Yep. Now, eventually I'll do 3 into 2 and then 2 into 1.
Okay.
Once I get to the very end of it.
So this is basically what we did all day. Boil and boil and boil and boil.
So eventually it will start to kind of foam up.
So here Steve's using his wife's strainer to skim off all the ash and scum that floats to the top.
That one's not too bad.
So we boiled some more. And while it was boiling, Steve and I caught up. We talked about finances, we talked about being dads, all sorts of different things. So this fancy little tool is called a refractometer. You take a few drips of your boiled down sap, you drip it out into the end there, you close the little lid, you point it up at the sunlight, and it measures something called Brix percentage, which I guess basically is measuring the thickness or like the viscosity of your sap to know when it's ready or not. We were only at about 15 or 16%, and I think you want to be up closer to 60% before you bottle. At this point, Steve was happy with where we were at and decided it was time to filter it for the first time. And so, what is this, a fabric
This is
filter?
just a paper filter.
Paper filter?
Just a single. I'll do the single first after we bring it inside, boil it down just a little bit more. Then I'll do a double paper to filter it a little bit more.
And is this specifically for maple syrup making?
Yes.
Or is it, okay, I don't know if it was like similar to like a coffee filter or something like that. I can smell the sweetness now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It smells really good. And is that ash or is that those minerals, you think?
It could be some of both.
What's it called again, the minerals?
Niter.
Niter. So we took it inside to finish boiling where we have a little bit more control, and we're hoping to take it up to around 219 degrees. At this point, we were just about ready, so we started preparing for bottling. This is just sit all the way in there like that?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I thought we were going to be like holding that giant pot. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be crazy.
When I get close, I probably could. When I get close to the end of it, like I can just kind of do that, but I might do that at the very end of it. But at least to start, I'll scoop this. So in fact, if you want to, it might be best to put it over here.
Okay.
A little bit more.
Sorry guys, we kind of had to move quickly and I didn't have time to adjust the camera just right. And there's a bottle in the way. Just use your imagination.
So this is like basically what Alice does. She kind of helps hold that.
Mm-hmm.
After like 60 seconds, she's like, my shoulders are burning.
And I forgot to mention, this is actually a paper filter inside of a synthetic fabric filter. Yeah, I like it better than maple syrup from the store, man.
Really?
That's just like straight sugar. This has like a little bit of, taste
The
to
flavor,
it.
yeah. Yep.
It tastes like a caramel almost.
Yeah.
So this is what we filtered out. It's minerals called niter, and it feels just like sand. It tastes just like sugar, but I would not recommend tasting it because you're going to feel like you have sand in your mouth for hours. Ask me how I know. Literally tastes like, feels like sand. So Steve's about to explain to me why the bottle of syrup he gave me last year is so much lighter in color than the bottle we just made. And I guess it has to do with when in the season the sap was collected and boiled. He also explained about the different grades of syrup and how they're all grade A, and there's dark amber, light amber, regular amber. They're all grade A, but they have different grades of amber and a different flavor profile.
It is a delicate flavor. Fast forward to later in the season, once you get to like mid-March, and the flavor is a little bit more on the robust side.
I had a great time hanging out with my buddy and making maple syrup, and honestly, it was the best maple syrup I've ever had. I definitely recommend you guys trying it. He literally has 2 maple trees in his yard and makes enough syrup for a family of 4 for a whole entire year. Check it out, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hit that follow button.